Beware, citizens, for new danger lurks in Gotham. At the behest of the sinister Hugo Strange, the inmates of Arkham are no longer merely incarcerated, they are imprisoned in a walled-off section of the slums now known as Arkham City. With the inmates running the asylum, the criminals and villains are free to do as they please, and their dastardly plans could bring the entire city crashing to its knees. Will Batman be able to unravel the mysteries of Arkham City, or will he find himself at the mercy of his most desperate foes? Arkham City is an action-adventure game that is the sequel to Arkham Asylum. In it, you control Batman as he investigates what's going on in the city and tries to put a stop to the various villains' plans. Like before, the game is still a mixture of combat, puzzle solving, and exploration. The combat is the most straightforward contribution from the previous game. It's still a free-flowing system where you're trying to build up combos and then precisely counter enemies at the right moment, only this time you do have the advantage of being able to throw out weapons or special equipment in order to defeat your opponents. Now, while the combat is relatively familiar, it's when you get into the puzzles and exploration elements that Arkham City really starts to shine. Unlike the previous game, where most of your exploration was locked into smaller, isolated locations, Arkham City actually has a much larger open-world map, and navigating this map is a large part of the gameplay. Now, while there are still plenty of interior sections and portions of the map that may be locked until you find specific equipment, overall, the open-world nature of the map is much more conducive to a Batman-themed video game. Exploring the town, finding secrets and side quests feels much more natural this time around. Plus, being able to use your grappling hook and glider to soar over the moonlit city is probably one of the best additions to the gameplay that you could have possibly asked for. In addition to the new open level design, Batman Arkham City also has some minor tweaks, such as adding new gadgets and characters. For instance, in certain parts of the game, you will be able to play as Catwoman and see the story from a slightly different perspective. Now, sure, mechanically, Catwoman behaves almost exactly like Batman, especially during combat, where her whip and bolas are pretty much exactly like Batman's grappling hook and batarangs. But during exploration, she does have a few special techniques which change how she interacts with the environment. The story of Arkham City is also kind of interesting. It has Batman facing off against a lot of his classic foes while also trying to push the story forward in a modest way in terms of actions and consequences.
Hey, Joker gang, Batman!
Really though, Arkham City is just an excellent example of a quality sequel. It takes all the elements of the previous game that were good, whether that's the combat or the exploration, and then expands or improves upon them. Now, if I had any complaints to make about the game, it might be that some of the side quests are a little extraneous, relying on very obscure Batman villains like Calendar Man or Solomon Grundy. But even then, the core narrative and core gameplay are still fantastic.
Do you realize how many bones you've got left for me to break?
Oh God, please don't hurt me. I'll tell you what I know.
I would give Batman Arkham City 4 out of 4 stars. It's everything I liked about the previous game and more. If you were a fan of Arkham Asylum or just a fan of open action adventure games in general, then yeah, definitely pick it up. Now I must be off. The city of Gotham needs me, and I must protect her, as per Dark Knight.